Ladies and gentlemen, one of my friends, Mugen, uploaded a 1 hour and 10-minute expose on everybody's most hated streamer, PirateSoftware, which is insane to me, to be completely honest. Now, once again, I'm not particularly close with Thor. I maybe had a conversation or two with him with private DMs, but I do believe there's a lot of context that Mugen will be missing from this that I want to correct.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
The bigger they are, the bigger they fall.
That phrase is perfect to describe when a massive content creator gets into controversy bad enough to end their career. But when it comes to PirateSoftware, he wasn't just a big content creator. He was someone who managed to blow up from 13,000 subscribers all the way to 1.1 million in less than 2 months, taking over the YouTube Shorts algorithm at some point, and even making over $50,000 in one Twitch stream. However, he also managed to lose all of that just as fast. His actions didn't just make him unlikable, but it exposed him, both as a brand and as a person, making people realize that they had subscribed to him over lies or exaggerations, and that he never showed his true self until now. Yeah,
he also got multiple awards at the Streamer Awards for being like the most beloved content creator, like Breakout Streamer of the Year, being like nominated for Streamer of the Year as well. I mean, this guy had everything going for him. It is a shame. This has been quite the, I guess it's, you know what it's like? It's like Magic Cylinder in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where like there's all this success and it's going at your opponent, but then he like flips it back directly to your life points. It's very unfortunate. Bro really hit the trap card, not gonna lie.
No doubt somehow heard about this already. So many people are talking about him because it's that much of a crazy story. And so I thought of making a video going back to the first ever incident and how it led us here today. So without further ado, let's do this. All right, so the first question to even ask here is, where the hell did PirateSoftware even come from? Well, he created his channel in 2016. And while his channel would grow over the years, it would do so in a very slow manner, reaching 13,000 subscribers after 7 years. But then, at the end of October 2023, he would take a decision that would change his life forever. And that would be uploading highlights of his Twitch streams as YouTube Shorts. These were such an incredible success that for a while they took over the YouTube Shorts algorithm. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised at all if a huge portion of you watching this video right now came across these shorts on your own time. The views speak for themselves, with tens of millions of people being exposed to his channel for the first time and liking it. But how did he manage to do that when so many others couldn't? Well, many different shorts actually share the same factors. All you have to do is just watch one to understand the appeal. This short right here, titled Social Engineering, has every single one of these factors combined. So let's take a look at it and then I'll explain. Watch.
So when I worked at Blizzard, I had to do a social engineering task where I had to hit customer support, and I had to get 50 questions answered. And let me tell you, I got my questions answered. I shouldn't have. That was the problem. They're not supposed to answer those. And one of the things that I found that was really interesting is people that had been there for 1 year were really, really hard to trick. But people that had been there for 5 years were really easy to trick. What have we learned? We've learned that training is the issue. Everybody that actually worked at the company got training in their first year, and then they never got training again. So they became complacent, exactly. The director of CS came, and he said, I want the names. And I said, I'm not giving you the names. You're just going to fire those people. And he goes, I'm going to go to your boss. I was like, do it. My boss is like, you got the names? I was like, yeah. And he goes, you going to give them to him? I was like, no. And he goes, he's not going to give you the names, bud. And then I sat down and I was like, look, I'm not giving you the names, because if I did, you'd fire all of these people that are your best employees, the ones that have been here the longest. And in 4 years, you will have the exact same problem with the people that are newbies right now. The issue is not the employees, it's your training regimen. I sat down with him, we created a new 6-month training regimen. Guess what? I went back about a year later, did the same thing. All those people passed with flying colors. Not a single one of them answered my questions.
And I bet you this is a really real story. I bet you it's 100% real. Yeah, because he did work his Blizzard. And his dad also worked at Blizzard. Now, you may not know that because he's pretty private about it. But yeah. Little known fact, yeah, he worked at Blizzard and so did his dad. Yeah, you know, you wouldn't really know that unless he told you, but he'll never tell you.
Well, there you have it. The deep voice, with the confidence and eloquence in his speech, as well as the whiteboard he was drawing on at the bottom that was meant to soothe any attention span issues Gen Z might have, was the perfect combination. Additionally, this story made him out to be a genius, but not just any genius, a noble genius who saved 8 employees from losing their jobs by standing up to the evil boss. And where did that boss work? At some unknown company? No, he worked at the grand, prestigious video game company, Blizzard Entertainment. Yes, that's right. This guy right here, talking in such an amazing, eloquent tone, worked at Blizzard Entertainment. And that's something.
Why doesn't he tell more people that? Because it's really impressive.
He would make sure to mention any chance he got.
When I worked at Blizzard, I did that for Blizzard. Blizzard, 7 years, yeah. Blizzard. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment.
Anyway, we'll get back to that later in the video. But for now, all you have
play the whole supercut. Come on, it's so good.
To understand is that these shorts were extremely effective. PirateSoftware had gone from 13,000 subscribers to 1 million before the year even ended. That's 2 months, going from 13,000 to 1.1 million. And over time, his shorts have racked up almost 2.3 billion views. A massive, astounding achievement in such a short amount of time. But YouTube wasn't the only platform that benefited. I mean, these shorts were highlights from his streams. So of course, people went to those streams to see the real thing live. And so his Twitch channel went from 400 concurrent viewers to thousands. And within barely 3 months, he was at over 8,000 concurrent viewers. That's top 1% of the top 1%. Now look, of course you might think, well, there are bigger streamers out there. Of course. But even those streamers must have gotten envious sometimes because of how loyal and supportive PirateSoftware's community was. On December 2023, he would beat Twitch's hype train record. When enough people donate bits or gift subs, the hype train is activated, starting at level 1. While that's happening, a timer starts counting down to 0. If more people donate, the timer resets and he gets to level 2. PirateSoftware's community had gotten him to level 55, and they discovered together that level 55 was actually the cap. No one had ever reached a hype train level this high on the entire platform. He had gotten over 7,000 subs and 1.8 million bits.
That's retarded.
If you don't know what this means, he had essentially made $50,000 in one stream. This guy...
I don't... Is that right? Let me double check that here real quick. Okay, so wait, so 15K subtracted. Nah, it's really only like $28,000 after taxes and Twitch takes their cut. But to the public eye, they probably think around 50K, but now it's more around 28 after taxes and Twitch takes their cut. But still, I mean, that's still great.
This community was so unstoppable that it made everyone else be aware of his existence. So much so that he actually was able to get nominated to the Streamer Awards in December of 2023. He was barely getting viral.
Impressive.
But
yeah,
this is just how influential he was in such a short
I'm just a
span of
numbers
time.
nerd.
But what I want you to understand here is that the Streamer Awards actually have way bigger streamers than PirateSoftware and other category nominations. For example, like XQC or Kai Cenat. These streamers would, of course, send their own communities to go vote for them on the website. And they did so with no issues. But when PirateSoftware sent his community to vote for him, they crashed the fucking website.
That's insane.
No other content creator had even come close to crashing the website. So it goes without saying that he won the Best Software and Game Development Streamer Award in 2023. He wasn't just absolutely killing it, the guy was speedrunning being a content creator, getting to 1 million subs, getting hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitch, winning streamer awards, and beating records when it came to donations on Twitch.
I think the only thing that really bothers me about PirateSoftware is that he looks just like my ex-wife. And I can't ever not see it. And it just it's uncanny, the similarities. It freaks me the fuck out.
So of course, I say this with no exaggeration, the sky was the limit and the guy was barely getting started. If he could achieve that in just a couple of months, what could he achieve in years? Would he become a legend? Achieve stardom? Either way, he was unstoppable until he wasn't. And he had no one to blame but himself. The first incident that would begin his cataclysmic downfall was, in the most ironic way possible, in
I love providing context for all this.
World of Warcraft.
I have a lot to say about this.
Dungeon. Yes, Blizzard Entertainment's biggest game of all time. And it would become his worst nightmare. Guys, I don't think World of Warcraft needs any introduction, okay? It came out in 2004 and revolutionized gaming forever. Many games tried to copy it, many games tried to compete with it, they all died, and this game is still alive today in 2025. Now, throughout the years, it has received many different expansions, 9 in total. And while they would add more content, quests, story, sometimes new races, sometimes new classes, some of them would also permanently alter the game's fundamental mechanics.
King was also
in other words,
goated.
the game that you're playing now in 2025 is vastly different
I'm not
from the
crazy
game that
about
you
Burning
have played
Crusade.
on release day. One could even go as far as saying that they're completely different games at this point. Seeing that so many people's most meaningful gaming experience while they were growing up was World of Warcraft, a lot of them yearned for nostalgia. A lot of them wanted to relive those days when all they had to do was worry about mechanics from 10 or even 15 years ago. This would result in the rise of WoW private servers, unofficial servers ran by fans in which they would use old versions of the game. At some point, Blizzard would start taking down some of the most popular private servers and would cause community outrage, with many asking Blizzard directly, well, why are you going to take them down, seeing that there's demand for them if you're not going to make one of your own? And so they took their sweet time, but eventually, in the year 2019, they would launch World of Warcraft Classic, bringing back World of Warcraft exactly how it was back during patch 1.12.1 of September 2006, before the launch of its first ever expansion. It would run in parallel to the normal World of Warcraft of today and would slowly re-release its expansions, allowing people to relive them once more. In the summer of 2020,
I could not believe WoW Classic released 6 years ago. Oh my god, I feel old, guys. I'm gonna be dead soon. Jesus Christ.
World of Warcraft Classic would release the Hardcore Realms game mode. These are separate servers from normal ones in which you can create a new character, but if you die, you lose that character forever, hence why it was called Hardcore. And this is where
Classic is old enough to re-release another WoW Classic.
A decade now. In his early days, he was a popular World of Warcraft streamer, and when he saw the announcement of World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore, he would create a Hardcore streamer guild in
I miss old Soda Poppin' where he was happy and enjoyed his life, and now he's just bitter and he yells at everybody, man. It's sad. I miss old fucking pink-haired Chance. Pyah!
October 2023, in which he and a bunch of other big streamers would try their best to level up their character to level 60 without dying, and eventually also try to do endgame content. It was a big success, so at the end of 2024, he decided to launch Season 2. This time, better and bigger than ever before. The amount of streamers that participated in this Season 2 was insane. There are streamers here who had never even played World of Warcraft, that were huge in games that they played. Some were League of Legends pros, some were Counter-Strike pros. I mean, the list went on. It was an astounding amount of people. And of course, one of the many, many big streamers that had joined OnlyFangs was none other than PirateSoftware. Seeing that he had built such a massive influence over the year of 2024, adding him to the guild was seen as a net positive. It was seen as a good thing, until one day, it wasn't. The maximum level you could reach in World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore was level 60, and getting there, just by itself, is already an ordeal that lasts dozens of hours and sees you try your best to not die.
You know, there's only, what was it? I think there's only been 3 streamers that have ever made one character and had that character never die for their entirety of OnlyFangs that were above 500 viewers. One of them, what was it? What was his name? He was like this warrior. He was the top non-sweat DPS for the guild and 3rd DPS overall. What was his name? Fuck. Oh, that's right. It was me. And my OnlyFangs experience was everybody telling me how shit I was when I was pulling top damage and never died.
Now, Dire Maul is a dungeon that you can only access if you're level 58 at the minimum, and its appeal is the amount of great gear that it drops. Dungeons are typically ran by 5 people, so PirateSoftware and 4 other streamers decided to take this on in order to get better gear. Now, usually, when you're in a dungeon or a raid, there's always a team leader.
You're the
someone
scapegoat?
who calls the
I
shots.
know.
It's a very stressful role, especially in a raid when you're managing a couple dozen people, and it's even crazier in hardcore World of Warcraft because whatever you decide might affect the accounts of the people playing. One wrong move and they lose dozens of hours of progress, and it's all on you. I'm saying that.
Not dozens of hours, hundreds of hours. I mean, people like there were some people who took like 300-400 hours to get to max level. Now, me personally, I did that shit in like 35 because I'm fucking different. But like, you know, other people who aren't me took a fucking long time, even while they were getting carried. I mean, let's be real. Emmy herself, who, you know, always talks about how good she is at League of Legends. I mean, there's a reason why she died like 13 fucking times, right? It's because of Miskiff. Anyways.
This because I want you to bear in mind that PirateSoftware is not the group leader here. But as silly as this sounds, the beginning of PirateSoftware's downfall was because of this dungeon and what you're about to see here. The YouTuber Dev, otherwise known as Short Fat Otaku, great name by the way, combined the perspectives of everyone who was streaming in the dungeon minus one person. One of them was PirateSoftware on the top right. As you're watching this, you're going to hear the team leader say, run. In World of Warcraft dungeons or raids, this means retreat, but help each
I've watched this many times, and I'm gonna break this down for anyone who doesn't understand what's going on here.
other retreat. Not every man for himself. Don't care about your teammates. You're meant to stick around, try your best to outmaneuver the enemies while making sure your teammates also make it out with you. But
not true. Not true. No, it's not. Mugen thinks that because he wasn't in the soup. When a guy says retreat, you roach the fuck out. You get out. You get out. It is every man for himself. You get the fuck out. That's the truth. There was no make sure everybody's okay. Now you can do that if you're a good person. You have no obligation to, man. You have no obligation to. When somebody says run, you run.
You might guess that's not what happened here at all. Watch.
Well, God damn it.
Run.
Just run. Can you tell you down here?
All right, so he said run.
Not only was it a run, it was a run, 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 run. That does not mean stick around. That means to get the fuck out. Shit is bad.
The team tries
I want you to hear that again. That wasn't just a run. That was a run, 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 run. Listen.
That's not what happened here at all. Watch.
Well, God damn it.
Run.
Just run. Can you tell you down here?
All right, so he said
No,
run.
no. That was a run, 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 run. 5 runs. That is a shit's bad run. That is panicking. That is straight up panicking. Let's keep going.
The team tries their best to make sure that they all get out together. Look at PirateSoftware.
Also, are you fine? Any grenades, anything?
He's still hitting with the slow.
Yeah, just heal me. Just come back a
Honestly,
little
that's
bit.
more than I would have done.
It's not me, just run.
I can help a lot. Yeah. Pirate, why are you walking, bro?
What are you talking about? Why am I walking?
This
Look
is
at my mana.
salvageable. Come on, man.
Kill it.
So his teammate told him, Pirate, why are you walking, bro? This is salvageable. Come on, man. He doesn't care. He keeps running all by himself.
Just kill the mastiffs.
Innovate.
Kill the mastiffs. We got this. In a sense of...
Or something?
Wait. So you tell the guy to run, and then you get surprised that the guy ran. Run! Why are you walking? I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Like, legit. This play is so overhated for no reason.
Do you see my mana? What am I supposed to do for you?
Just kill the massives. One shot. Okay, we
More
can
on the way.
Now, if we look at the mana, he's at about 20%. This is cap. Let me double check.
Mana? What am I supposed to do for you?
Just kill the massives.
He still has around 20% mana. Let's be real. He could have done something, but he had no obligation to. Let's keep going here.
Massives. One shot. Okay, we
More
can
on the way.
The massives can be ice over.
Now we're gonna wait.
Sora?
Oh.
Okay, get out.
Run.
Evocation's on cooldown, man.
I can taunt last
How much mana is
as
ice?
well.
There's no much mana.
You have a boss in you. You called run.
Getting slowed.
Yep.
Fuck. Wait,
Anything for me?
Stop me. Oh,
I
no.
don't think I cannot stun him. Also,
No,
good.
just run out.
So, that sounded like a massive fuck up, didn't it?
Yes, it did, short fat otaku. Bear in mind, PirateSoftware's excuse
Hey. Once again, if you're a leader and you say run, and guys, call me out if you want. You know you would have done the same thing. Shit's going to shit. Leader says run. Another guy says run. Somebody says run, you listen. That's the truth. And you can't ever do, legitimately, you cannot ever do a run call and then a comeback call. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. Now you might be a hero, but you know. Run. Why are you running? Please see Tyler 1 Baron Geddon. Because everybody's saying that they're different. You're all the same.
here was, I have no mana, I can't help you, when he clearly had 2 items in his inventory.
And now here's the other thing. If everybody was in the party with who was really good, then yeah, you could have done that. But let's be real, guys. Relying on imbeciles to play effectively, not a good call. It's not. Like, you do that with, like, the people who you know. They're part of your mythic raid team. They're part of your fucking 5s team, your 3s team. You know these people. You're reliable. These are dumbasses playing wild, bro. These aren't good players. These are dumbasses, right? So take the L, get out, reset, go back in.
That could bring back up his mana. He could have totally helped and saved.
Yamato's bad player, true. Yeah, Yamato fucking sucks. And I say that having no idea who he is. I just like chatting shit anyways.
His 2 teammates that ended up dying, losing all their progress. This was a disaster. One of his teammates, Yamato, on the left here, confronted him and was asking him what happened.
Am I crazy? Doesn't Yamato absolutely suck?
Like, what's going on? And this was what PirateSoftware had to say right after the fact.
You instantly ran. You didn't even look
As much
back.
as you're angry right now, of course I ran.
I'm not angry at all.
You
I'm not angry at all.
overpulled 2 packs. You overpulled 2 packs and a boss. I had 1,400 mana left. I had to spend all of that mana to try and put it on Blizzard to save you guys in the first place, and nothing left. You weren't paying attention to party resources, you overpulled, and you weren't paying attention to where the boss was. That's not on me.
So 2 of his teammates...
I think he's right. I'm straight up, bro. I don't care, bro. Legit, I think he's right. Straight up. Yep, and I know that take gets you heat. I don't care. He's right. Sorry, man. Yamato, it doesn't matter. The leader said run, you listen to the leader, is what it is. Yep. We can, and chat, we can agree and disagree. He did the Blizzard, which applied the slow, which is all he needed to do. If you know WoW, he got the slow off. Everybody should have left. I think he's right here, guys. I do. I think he's right.
pretty much lost everything. He very clearly ran on his own when he could have just said, you know what, look, yes, I panicked, I screwed up, my bad, sorry. But he instead decides to blame his entire team.
This is the one thing that I'm worried about for Mugen, is Mugen makes very good videos that people are going to take everything he says completely legitimately. I actually wish he would have reached out to me about this so I could provide a counterpoint.
except for himself. It was your guys' fault for pulling in the enemies. It was your guys' fault for calling run in the middle of a fight. It was your guys' fault for this and that. This was very weird behavior. I mean, this is just a game, and he was acting like if he apologized, he would be committing a cardinal sin or something. It made his teammates very uncomfortable to the point where the guild leader had to step in. Now, Soda Poppin was initially the guild leader, but then, unexpectedly, he dueled Tyler 1, who had leveled up to level 60 and became a very important member of the guild in a fight that would determine who the new guild master would be. What no
Soda Poppin threw this guild because he knew that Tyler 1 was the only reason why people were watching OnlyFangs Season 2. Everybody knows it. T1 was OnlyFangs Season 2. He was the MVP. Everybody knows it.
one was expecting, though, was that Tyler 1 would beat Soda Poppin, becoming the guild master.
Definitely top 5 streamers. No, top 10 streamers of all time, easily.
Seeing that this was becoming a big guild issue, he had to step in and brought both Yamato and PirateSoftware into a call in order to squash the beef one.
Let's think here. Top 10 streamers of all time. Tyler 1, Asmongold, Wreckful, Kai Cenat, I Show Speed. Whether you want to admit it or not, Dr. Disrespect, Forsen, Soda Poppin, yeah, Kriparian, XQC, and me. Anyways.
And for all. The result? A catastrophe. Watch.
What do you want, man?
Let me say it again.
He already said his piece.
Pirate.
Go on.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear God.
I want to speak to him because I didn't speak to him correctly. I said it again. We all did mistakes, bro. Like I didn't say. We are just blaming you.
Asmon, I already said
It's about the
Asmon.
zero accountability is what makes us so mad.
There's no zero accountability, dude. Everyone can do something better.
you-
But when you open up and
No,
you yell
you-
over another
no,
person
listen,
like you
can
were doing
I
earlier-
speak?
Nah, I'm good.
You
See ya. I'm not doing that shit again with him. Nah, he did it the first time. I'm not doing it a second one.
I also think he's right in this situation. Straight up. Dude, I think Yamato is just such a dumb fuck. Straight up.
Not interested.
I mean, this is so weird. Yamato was being as mature as possible here, saying,
Nah, he wasn't.
listen, this was all our fault. We're not blaming you. We just want you to admit, just like we've admitted, that we all screwed up, and he couldn't even say that, leaving the call like an immature, disrespectful baby as Yamato was talking. This not only rubbed his dungeon teammates the wrong way, it rubbed the entire OnlyFangs guild as well as the viewers the wrong way. As criticism was mounting, PirateSoftware was for the first time confronting massive controversy coming
Nah, this was everybody trying to dunk on him because there was already a hate train going towards him. Straight up. Now, once again, I would like to continue. Later, PirateSoftware has done a lot of things that he should be getting hate for. This was not one of them.
his way. At any point in time, he could have just simply apologized and moved on. Instead, he only chose to double down, playing the victim and saying that other streamers and OnlyFangs just want to cause problems with him for no reason whatsoever.
Content is causing drama and problems. There's a lot of streamers actually in this guild that want to cause problems specifically with me and have even stated so publicly on their Twitch, saying that they want to have a fight with me for content. That's not content. That's dog shit. Ridiculous. Keep it. Not going to be a part of it.
I mean, seriously, why would people just want to attack you unprovoked for no reason whatsoever? What a cruel world we live in. The bulk of these events would unfold from January 10th.
I mean, to be fair, obviously, I think Muja is also really missing the mark on all OnlyFangs was desperate clout chasing whores. They were. Straight up. They were just a bunch of desperate clout chasers to hoping to get on PirateSoftware stream, hoping to get on Mizkif stream, hoping to get on Emmy stream, hoping to get on T1 stream, hoping to get on Soda Poppin stream, and they were willing to do anything. And obviously, PirateSoftware's back was against the wall here, right? I wasn't in OnlyFangs Season 2. I was blacklisted, right? So no, not me. But obviously, people would go and try to farm W's and Giga Chads by sticking it to the guy who roached out. And then, by the way, then later that week, roached out themselves. And that's why I know I'm right. Because everybody casting judgment on PirateSoftware did the exact same thing later. The same thing that they would say they would never do. They did the exact same thing. I was a very angry guy guild leading. I was. But if someone fucked up because I called out something bad, that's not on them for not using their own brain, because you have to train your guildies to not think and just do what you say. And that's why I was doing Mythic Progression. Crush Nighthold as well, and that shit was hard as fuck. Okay? That shit was hard as fuck. Now, let's continue. You as a guild leader cannot be angry at someone listening to your call. I don't believe I ever heard the guild leader say, come back in Ice Nova and Blizzard. And by the way, Everybody knows once a run call happens, you run. That's it. You run because that was the command. You get out.
To January 12th, 2025. By that time, PirateSoftware would have received so much criticism, so much hate, that he felt compelled to post a long tweet explaining his point of view on Twitter.
Oh, and by the way, if these were like PirateSoftware's friends, that's way different. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to waste 200 hours of my life. Who cares? Fuck them. If you want some people who are compassionate, then play with your friends. I'm not going to expect a random to put their life on the line for me. Once again, we can disagree. It's all good. But that, I just want to let you know, if you disagree, that's totally okay. If you agree, easy, based, love you guys. I just want you to know where I'm coming from with my opinions, because that's all I can do. Feel free to poke holes in that logic. I'm cool with that. That's just how I play. Maybe you play different, but that's how I play. Let's keep going here. They are guild mates, but yeah, this isn't a normal guild. This is a guild full of parasitic yes men, parasitic whore stream snipers and clout chasers. Let's just be real. These are not a guild of friends. These people don't know each other. They are rat fucks who are just doing this for clout.
To those trying to character assassinate me online for a bad pull in Dire Maul WoW hardcore, this is hardcore WoW, and a lot is on the line when you step foot into a dungeon. Here's a light breakdown of the last 24 hours. Our party went the wrong way and overpulled multiple packs with the boss. The shot caller made the call to run, then went back on that call. During the run out, another pack was pulled as we had opted to skip it previously, which is never a good thing. Communication was completely broken throughout this, and it was our second time failing the dungeon. Everyone played poorly, and 2 people ultimately lost their characters for it. Each person in this group made mistakes, including myself. I have never once said I was perfect in my play, nor that I was a god gamer. I'm just an ex-Blizzard employee that has played Mage for a long time. To pin that on a single person is absurd at best, and if you're calling for death and cancellation over it, you're too invested in this content in a very unhealthy way. If you're a creator engaging this kind of behavior, then eventually your content wave will end, but the relationships you've sullied will be permanent. Hope it was worth it for you. To those trying to defend me, don't worry about it. This too shall pass. Do not attack anyone else on my behalf. I've always hated that kind of behavior. I have no intention of stopping making things or not doing stuff as I have already done. Those who are banned will stay so. I've never liked that kind of knee-jerk reaction behavior in our community before.
I would like to say, for people saying he can't take accountability, he did say everyone played poorly. I myself also played poorly. I would like that was at least said, right?
And I will not be changing that now. For those that don't understand why they will stay banned, we had a 10-hour long hate raid over it live on Twitch. We had to ban nearly 4,000 accounts across all platforms, and our moderators received death threats regularly throughout it all. People called for me to be killed both in-game and out of game. They tried to get me banned from Twitch, the guild, and WoW. They tried to make disparaging comments about our ferret rescue or that we somehow hurt animals. They tried to spread rumors saying I was convicted of felonies and many other things. The internet hate machine will not defeat me or the community that supports me. See you in WoW Hardcore tomorrow. So this was posted on January 13th, 2025. And while he did admit that everyone in the group made mistakes.
Why did Soda kick him then, Techie? I don't fucking know. I'm not soda popping. I don't know why Soda kicked him. Hopefully he has his reasoning and we can break it down when we see it.
Mistakes, including himself, it truly didn't feel genuine. It seemed like it was absolutely impossible for him to just say, I'm sorry, I misplayed. He just couldn't do it. Someone pointed that out, saying, where's the I messed up? And PirateSoftware said, apparently you have no idea how to read. Hope this helps, highlighting the paragraph in which he said, each person in this group made mistakes, including myself. Again, it was worded in a disingenuous way. He just couldn't take individual accountability here, no matter what. The top comment was a WoW streamer known by Joker D saying, just take the L, it's not that hard. To
I'm gonna be real again. Like, I don't think the L on this play was him and his alone to take. It was a group failure. You know what I'm saying? Like, people want to that was not in totality 100% his fault. So why should he take accountability for that whole thing? I'm gonna be real, Mugen. I think this is a fucking L take on this video, bro. I'm just gonna fucking say it, brother. This to me, Mugen sounds like he's parroting the public opinion and doesn't know WoW. But once again, I love Mugen, but I think this is an L take by Mugen personally, but we can agree to disagree. Sorry, guys.
PirateSoftware said, hope this was worth it for you. So overall, this entire response didn't really help him at all. And even if it did, he would single-handedly ruin any progress it might have had in the coming days. He would double down, triple down, quadruple down, quintuple down, and eventually sextuple down, only to call OnlyFangs a content guild built on hate.
It is. Yeah, that's because it is.
And a lot of it was from a rogue that was bitching the entire time about every goddamn thing that was going on except for his own play. But the mage is the one at fault because the mage is the hero class and the mage has to do everything perfectly. Everyone in that play played badly. The druid butt-pulled an extra pack on the way out. The tank chose to take us into a bad route through the entirety of the dungeon, pulled 2 packs and the boss at the same time. I, as the mage, went into that fight with 40% mana, tried to use my resources, used them poorly, and got myself out when the call was made to run, which, by the way, was made by them as well. Everyone...
Okay, that's not true. The call was not made to run. The call was made to run. It was 5 runs. So, just want to clarify that. I like keeping things objective here.
It played badly. In fact, the only person who didn't was the healer. And I explained that in the Twitter post.
I will say, I believe Pirate Software could have mana-gemmed, I believe.
No one wants to hear that shit. Because they want it to be a double down, a triple down, a quadruple down. They want to have a villain. They want to have an enemy. They want to fight that shit into the ground. They want to send death threats to people over it. Because they're goddamn insane.
Yeah.
Because this guild has turned into a content guild built on hate, not a content guild built on experiences. Because they're freaking monsters, dude.
It's just crazy how we got to this point, and we're not even halfway through this.
I agree, guys. I'm sorry. I 100% agree. Because because they didn't have me to use as a punching bag like they did for Season 1, they turned on Lukari to use him as a punching bag. And then they turned on Pirate Software to use him as a punching bag because the streamers of that guild are so fucking small, they don't know how to communicate without harassing somebody because they think it's fucking funny. And that's why, I'm sorry, guys, I absolutely agree. And if you've ever seen my POV, for a guy that did nothing but help that fucking guild, good lord, I got so much shit non-fucking stop.
Drama, and all he had to really realistically do was look at the camera.
Why can't everyone be friends? Because streamers are fake as
and say, you know what, I'm sorry. We all misplayed, yes, but I screwed up by running away the way I did. I had 2 items that could have restored my mana so I could help the 2 people who died, but I just simply panicked and ran away. And so even though we all misplayed, I just want to say I'm sorry for my play.
I know.
But no, it was too hard for him. Guys, he worked at Blizzard, and Blizzard employees...
No, genuinely, Lukari is the fucking man.
As Pirate Software was too busy playing the victim, a clip of the streamer Lukari surfaced in which he was doing a dungeon with Pirate Software. You see, Lukari is someone who had never played World of Warcraft up until this point. He was playing a mage, just like Pirate.
This is him. This is Lukari. I remember Lukari being very angry at Pirate Software.
But he was kind of having a hard time keeping up with everything going on. Here's how Pirate treated him. I'm sure you can tell from the title. Pirate Software bullying a totally new player to the game. Pathetic, dude.
Wait, what the fuck? I've never seen this.
Watch.
You basically have to evocate to get your mana back for the next pull. Ugh.
Remind me, sorry, I don't play the game, so I forget. If you remind me, I can help you out.
Yeah, it's too bad I'm the only mage in the party. You're right, Jen. If only someone else would cast Arcane. If only.
Can't really keep wishing for things that just aren't here, though.
That's true. That's true. Can't wish for the rogue. Can't wish for another mage to cast Arcane in.
Yeah.
Brother, may I have some oats? Oh, since we have 2 mages, we could probably volley the ads.
Wait, we have 2 mages. Oh, man.
Yeah, I can volley.
Here I've been the only one casting Arcane in. Incredible.
Oh, that's crazy.
Wild, right?
God.
This is gay as fuck. I'll be real. The way in which Pirate speaks here is completely unlikable. It's just being a dick for being a fucking dick. It's not funny. And it really just feels like he's dogpiling on the car like everybody else did. And I will say, when you join in on that hate train, don't be surprised when that hate train turns against you. I think this is gay as fuck. And I'm sorry, guys. I really don't enjoy when people are cruel to Lukari because there's really not a nicer person on the entire fucking platform. So yeah, no, I think this is an L for Pirate, absolutely.
Even reality TV can't recreate such
This is where it's like, okay, this guy's being an arrogant douchebag. Yeah, especially when like you look at the damage and it's exactly the fucking same. You know what I'm saying? And Lukari's new, right? This is where I'm like, okay, L Pirate, easy.
awkward moment, man. Just ruining the whole vibe.
Yeah, just incredibly passive aggressive.
Yeah, it's too bad I'm the only mage in the party. You're right, Jen.
Hey man, I'm new to the game, so if you want me to help with Arcane, just let me know, remind me. Yeah, it's too bad I'm the only mage in the game, right chat? Oh, we have 2 mages. Oh, I didn't know that. All that in the...
That's Pirate at all times. That's the problem. So here's the problem that you guys seem to have, or some of you seem to have. When you don't like someone, you think everything they do is bad, no matter what. It's okay to not like someone and say sometimes what they're doing is completely normal. Just because someone you don't like does something wrong doesn't mean that everything they do is wrong forever. We got to make sure, it's like Hassan, right? Hassan promotes terrorism, right? But sometimes he does talk some good talks about anime. I'm not going to damn his talks about anime. They're not a problem. It's the terrorist propaganda that's a problem. And so when you get into that mindset where you're blinded by hate, where everything they do is wrong, that's when we get into exaggerations that take away from the truth. And we really got to make sure when we call out problematic behavior that we're objective about that problematic behavior. Otherwise, that's when your movement begins to lose truth and begins to lose momentum, because then you're just going to be deemed as a hater. Let's call Pirate Software out when he needs to And when it's fine, it's fine. Let's keep going here.
Face of a new player who was being nothing but nice, honestly. And yet PirateSoftware had the gall to complain about being bullied by other content creators when he was literally doing that to someone as innocent as
exactly.
Lulcow.
If someone's bad, the truth is all you need.
The culmination of all this would force SodaPoppin to take the decision of kicking PirateSoftware from OnlyFangs, pinging everyone in the OnlyFangs Discord.
They made
and saying
Tectone
this.
woke.
Yes, I made a decision to kick Pirate. I felt a large majority of people in the guild felt uncomfortable playing or being around him and all that drama that surrounded him at this point. Even though some people may have not felt that way, a lot did. And after seeing some clips today from him quadrupling down, or I don't know what number we're on at this point, I think I'm making the right decision, but still, I feel bad. Try to just let this whole thing slide into forgetfulness and move on, in my opinion. Stay safe, game.
I think this was an L take by Soda. I think this was a save face comment, personally. I do. I don't think this was the play. I do think it was right for Pirate to be removed from the guild because all it was doing was causing excess hate. But yeah, I think there's an L take from Soda, but that's just my opinion. And once again, I think Soda has very few L's, but I think there's one of them.
So look, at the end of the day, in World of Warcraft in general, when you're in a raid or dungeon, you have to trust every single member on your team to make sure that not only—
But yeah, saying that you're uncomfortable with being around someone in a video game, just shut the fuck up.
I just feel really uncomfortable whenever he's in my party.
Jesus Christ. Get a fucking grip. I feel like it would just be way easier. Call the guy one-on-one, off stream, say, hey, people aren't enjoying the way you're carrying yourself. Can you get a fucking grip? And then, if that's a difficult conversation, say, okay, you're being ignorant to leadership, get the fuck out. But him doubling, quadrupling down on a thing that he was honestly right about, I don't know, man.
You complete the raid or dungeon, but that you also survive.
I'm sorry, bro. If you say that, like guys, I fucking raided with like Mizkif for like a fucking year.
Also applies on a way bigger scale in World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore.
Maybe that is what happened behind the scenes. Maybe, but we have no proof of that.
Because one bad teammate can cost you the account that you've put dozens or even hundreds of hours in. And people just couldn't trust someone who couldn't take any accountability like PirateSoftware. As soon as things would have gone wrong, he would have probably just ran for his life and said he had no mana again. And not many people really felt sorry for him because at the end of the day, he was the embodiment of this meme. No one was forcing him to sextuple down. No one was forcing him to bully a new player. The only person who was shooting themselves in the foot with a shotgun was none other than PirateSoftware. At this point, Jason Thor Hall, otherwise known as PirateSoftware, was slowly but surely becoming a lulcow, but he had no idea. But that was normal, because fundamentally speaking, a lulcow is never aware that they're a lulcow. Look, there are a lot of definitions of what a lulcow is, but if I had to sum it up, well, it would be very simple. It's someone who simply embodies the worst of the worst when it comes to human traits, but they would be constantly convinced that they are the perfect human being, never able to admit fault, and never willing to even when they know that they're in the wrong. This by itself becomes very entertaining, and there are many examples. They come in all shapes, sizes, and even colors. And the mage who ran out of mana was about to join their ranks imminently. All he had to do to avoid this fate was just fucking apologize, man. But
now,
he just—
One more thing that I want to address. Now, every one of you guys was very uncomfortable seeing how PirateSoftware talked to Lulcow. I want to make one thing perfectly clear. If you think that was an oddity, and that was the only person doing that to Lulcow, you're wrong. That was everybody doing that shit during raid time. The harassment that Lulcow got pissed me the fuck off. And the conversations that me and Lack had about that shit made me so fucking angry. Lulcow was treated like shit just because these inept, autistic, non-communicative streamers don't know how to talk or interact in a group unless they have a scapegoat to shit on to fit in. And Lulcow was the punching bag of that guild. And let's make this very, very clear. Unacceptable across the entire fucking board. And yes, even SodaPoppin participated in that. But SodaPoppin and Lulcow have that rapport to do so. It's very different than the randoms who were doing that shit. Still pissed me not with Soda. Soda's fine. But the other streamers doing that shit pissed me the fuck off.
couldn't. In fact, what he ended up
and
doing—
And also, that's just Soda. You know what well, on-stream Soda. I would like to go on record saying SodaPoppin is a sweetheart off-stream. Anyways.
Was maybe one of the cringiest things in this entire video. I genuinely can't believe that someone in his 30s said this, but I mean, watch this yourself. You'll know what I mean.
I didn't get this deep. Stop feeding into it. All of the accounts that are messaging me are getting reported. There's a funny fact about this. I worked at Blizzard for 7 years. There's a lot of people there that still know me, and all of these reports are going directly to them. They're well aware of the situation, and everybody who's messaging me, they're going to get read. It's kind of a dumbass thing to do, and I can't wait for all of them to get banned. Yep.
Yeah, so all you guys whispering me right now with these threats, well, guess what? My dad works at Nintendo, and I'm going to tell him personally about every single one of you, so good job. See you later. It's like, bro, if they're sending you death threats, you really just have to report them in-game, and I'm sure something will happen. You don't have to actually bother your Blizzard alumni. This clip was on January 4th.
I think it's fine to ban people who are sending death threats to people. I feel like it's totally fine. Why are we totally fine to report directly, hey, these people are threatening my life? I feel like that's completely fine. That wasn't the point. What's the point? Like, if you're going to send someone a death threat in a video game, you should probably get banned. Rewind and watch again? Okay, I'll rewind and watch again.
14th. And guys, I swear to you, I am constantly impressed by how ironic life can be. I don't think we live in a simulation, but sometimes I do get the feeling because some things are just so perfect in comedic timing, you'd think that there was someone writing a script. One day after this clip came out,
you literally didn't understand what he said? The point was that he could just report them like normal. No need to pull the I worked at Blizzard card. Sure. But also, like, it's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, I feel like, sure, if that's your point that he said, I worked at Blizzard, all right, but we already talked about that point. But I think it's fine to ban someone who gives a death threat.
PirateSoftware was streaming the game Ashes of Creation.
But the I worked at Blizzard card does nothing, though? Well, it kind of gives more validity saying, yeah, if you're messaging an ex-Blizzard dev, you're definitely getting permabanned. Anyways.
During its second alpha. This is an MMORPG similar to World of Warcraft, and it also has raids as well as dungeons. During a raid, PirateSoftware would wipe the entire team. He would kill everyone single-handedly by pulling in the wrong unit. What would be his first reaction? Well, watch for yourself.
Let's see.
Sabu is not paying attention.
He pulled in the enemy.
Sabu.
And he died.
God damn it, guys.
No, he pulled the ocular.
Uh-oh.
So one of you pulled the ocular. Why?
Wait, he doesn't know? Wait, he doesn't know?
Now half the raid is dead. Was there a reason for that?
Stop!
I swear, it is so funny knowing that he was the one who pulled the ocular.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, see, this is another example of him fucking up hard. See, look at this, guys. We hold him accountable for the things that he's done wrong, and then obviously we clarify for the shit that he wasn't wrong about. Yeah, no, this is fucking hilarious.
This is also another thing with lulcows. They are unintentionally hilarious. PirateSoftware here was genuinely pissed, okay? He genuinely was livid. But knowing that he was the one who caused the wipe is so fucking funny. It showed people that World of Warcraft wasn't an isolated case. He was doing this in Ashes of Creation and would very easily do this a third time somewhere else. It was him. He was the issue here. And his lack of accountability was astounding. But you know what else is astounding? His ability to keep digging himself in deeper holes.
Oh, here we go.
During this whole fiasco, Joker D would talk about PirateSoftware and would call him out.
Honestly, fuck PirateSoftware. Like, straight up, bro, this dude is a complete fraud. At least in the WoW space, I don't care if he worked for fucking Blizzard. The guy probably made fucking coffee for some devs. I don't even believe for a second.
So out of all the streamers in OnlyFangs, Joker D probably...
Joker D is insane. Joker D is an insanely good player, right? He is an insanely good player. I actually take what Joker D says about WoW very seriously. But I will also say, let's be real, riding the hate train is very popular right now. But yeah, Joker is an amazing player.
Went the hardest on PirateSoftware. He took segments of this rant and uploaded it as a YouTube video. That YouTube video would then be removed due to a violation of community guidelines, and the person who striked it cited the reason as being harassment and cyberbullying. One could only guess who took this video down. I mean, seriously. Joker D would never reveal the name of the brand or whatever that was behind this, but seeing that the video had gotten brigaded by PirateSoftware's community, for many, it was safe to say that PirateSoftware was the one who took this video down because he simply didn't like it, abusing the copy strike system on YouTube.
That's crazy.
Seeing that Pokemon had done this in the past back in 2020, getting an amazing community reaction.
That's crazy.
And of course, we can't forget about Alinity doing this as well back in 2018. Wow, I'm old.
I'm gonna copy strike this guy.
I mean, it was genius. It worked so well for every content creator who had done that prior.
Yeah.
So obviously, this was the play. Congratulations.
Yikes.
You know, it's so fascinating to me how the internet works sometimes. Someone could mind their own business for months, for years, for decades, but as soon as they do something that makes them so incredibly unlikable, the internet starts seeing a big red target on your back and they strike. PirateSoftware had a talent of building up a huge, loyal community in just a span of a couple of months. When January 2025 came by, though, he proved to us that he had another talent, building up a massive community of very loyal haters. These incidents that we just talked about had ensured that. This is when those very same haters would start scrutinizing every single aspect of PirateSoftware, both as a brand and as a person, only to eventually dismantle this massive empire that he had built. Now look, just to be clear, PirateSoftware has always had haters, dating all the way back to September 2024, and there were earlier instances too. This is normal. When you get famous, when you take over the algorithm the way he did, some people will naturally get fatigued from you. I mean, you might not believe this, but even someone like Queso has haters, purely because he's a massive content creator.
Yeah, you may not believe this guy, but even I have haters. I know, me. The nicest streamer you know. Yeah, some people don't like me, guys. I know, it's crazy, but it's the truth.
Unintended. Some of these early haters of PirateSoftware would start making videos talking about his past. About how, for example, he wasn't the game developer he was making himself out to be, especially with his Blizzard experience. About how he used to go by the name of Moldavius Victory and was a well-renowned furry in Second Life and EVE Online. But those videos would never get enough traction to actually matter. As you can see, this video right here with the title of PirateSoftware, the streamer who faked his game dev career, had reached almost 100,000 views. From the like and dislike ratio, we can see how PirateSoftware had somehow, either directly or indirectly, sent his community to brigade this video, and just like Joker D's video, it was taken down by abusing the copy strike system and inciting harassment and cyberbullying. So essentially, if you were an early hater of PirateSoftware, if you had something to say, well, chances are no one heard you. This is how for a long time he was able to sweep all the hate, feedback, and criticism under the rug. Except this time, after all the events that we just saw unfold, he had way too many eyes examining his every move, and he couldn't just sweep criticism under the rug anymore. For example, around the end of January 2025, PirateSoftware had DMCA'd an indie game and threatened to sue its developer. Why? Well, the developer shows us the main reason why PirateSoftware wanted the game taken down. Here it is. It's this roach wearing the same wizard hat that he was wearing during World of Warcraft while mimicking some of the things that he was saying. Watch.
As much as you're angry right now, of course I ran.
This whole game got DMCA'd because of this. I mean, this is how sensitive he is. And now many people were made aware of this. He couldn't just copy strike or DMCA just about anyone, because every time
I'll be real, DMCA copyright striking this shit is gay as fuck.
he spawned.
Like, I understand copyright striking if someone has like a known history of like constantly making videos on you that you've told them, hey, make another one and they'll copyright strike you after like months of harassment. But this shit, nah, hell nah. That's weird as fuck to DMCA over this shit.
More haters. His strategy was now outdated. Everyone was made aware of what had happened to this indie game. And speaking of indie games, there was renewed scrutiny over PirateSoftware's indie game called Heartbound, with many wondering why it's been in early access since 2018 with no release date in sight. Give it 3 more years, it'll be a decade. Some people were comparing him to Yandere Dev, a very well-established lulcow who hadn't released his game in over a decade. And when people actually analyzed its code, they found some of the worst written code known to mankind. Seeing all this scrutiny and criticism catch up to his own game development.
Now, I will say, as a person who has done a little bit of coding, I do think it is fine to write code that is sloppy and shit if you're a solo dev, because then nobody else has to understand it. Right? But I understand when you work a part of a team, you have to like follow like rules and laws and shit. So that way everybody understands it. But like I understand like sloppy one-man dev code. Right. The problem with Heartbound is that the game's bad. That's the problem.
Have hit one hell of a nerve, because very shortly after he announced that Heartbound would start receiving monthly updates, and all it took was people going there and reviewing it negatively. He was hoping that this would steer off the criticism and the scrutiny, and that things would eventually finally go back to normal, but the haters weren't really...
I don't know about that one, Chief. Okay, well, why don't you look at Undertale's code and you tell me how good it is? Yeah, nobody would have given a fuck about the code if the game was good, but the problem is the game wasn't good.
Done just yet. People were putting into question his entire identity, the fact that he worked at Blizzard for 7 years, but worked what exactly? As well as him claiming that he was one hell of a hacker who had gone to the yearly hacking conference, DEF CON, and won some pretty important events there with the help of his team that he never mentioned, of course. Always taking credit for this by himself. I mean, at some point he was invited to a podcast called Dropped Frames. This was a clip from it, and here's the title: PirateSoftware on how he became a hacker for the government. These were the stories that he was telling people. Watch this.
You're a hacker. Like that's where you like kind of start.
Actual hacker.
An actual hacker. Like,
Yes.
Not like I'm a hacker. No, you're an actual hacker. You won.
Like an actual hacker. Yeah, my last job was hacking power plants for the federal government. I worked for the United States Department of Energy.
So dude walks in with a laptop and a suit, and you lean over to, who's that guy?
Well, that's the hacker from the government.
Yeah, that's the hacker.
We go in like 3 to 4 man teams, man. So like we've got a team.
Oh, you had a fleet. You had like a team of dudes in suits.
Oh, I will say, Co Carnage, genius. Fucking genius. Deserves all the success he has. Amazing human being.
Holding laptops, walking into restricted areas. Okay.
When he says things like this, what he's trying to paint in your mind as a viewer is that he's some sort of Unit 8200 Mossad agent writing zero-day exploits on USBs that are snuck into Iranian nuclear facilities and that infest and shut down the entire technical operation of that nuclear power plant. When in reality, if you look at his LinkedIn and reconcile it against his skill set, what he did was social engineering. He wrote phishing emails and tried to gain access to credentials and user systems that way.
So Coding Jesus said
That's crazy.
Pirate Software's entire identity was slowly starting to unravel right before our very eyes. From the shorts that made him go viral,
that's
to the
rough.
stories he used to say on stream, to quite literally everything about him was nothing more than either an exaggeration or him trying as best as possible to sugarcoat reality. We can very clearly see on his LinkedIn that first off, he didn't work at Blizzard for 7 years, it was actually 6 years, 6 months, and that his initial roles were him being in quality assurance. For the first 4 years at Blizzard, so the majority of his time there, he was in an entry-level role, eventually being promoted multiple times and finishing off as a senior red team specialist. In his own description of the job, he said, infiltrated and exploited physical access controls, managed social engineering operations to improve employee awareness and resilience, and finally created, launched, and managed a global web application bounty program. As Coding Jesus said, this guy would literally just send phishing emails, make phone calls, try to pretend to be an outsider in order to have employees make mistakes so that they can improve internal protocols. I mean, it's an important job, that's for sure. But even on his LinkedIn, he would make claims that he worked on all these different games. I mean, yeah, indirectly, but...
Also, I would like to go on record saying the best MOBA of all time is Heroes of the Storm, and fuck Blizzard for ruining that game.
None of your code made it to the game. You didn't model, you didn't texture, and you sure as hell didn't animate.
I feel like people interject alone their own, allow their own feelings in the pirate software situation. Well, yeah, of course, but the internet has an issue of saying, I don't like this guy, which means he can never do anything right at all, and he's wrong in every situation he's in. But I'm not going to blame people for being stupid. But yeah, like, if you really want to get to the bottom of things, you got to, you know, really try to root yourself in what's actually bad and what's not. Because if someone is actually bad, then the truth is good enough to expose them. You won't have to make up lies. Anyways, Hassan is 45 years old.
You just so happened to work on internal projects in parallel to these games. And yet, every time someone would mention something about games, about the video game industry, about whatever, he would always start off by saying, I worked 7 years at Blizzard, actually, so I know what I'm talking about. When in reality, no, you have more experience as an indie developer than you ever had as a developer at a AAA company. And that's the truth. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that he made this such an important and integral part of his personality that it felt like a massive betrayal. But that's not all. His dad was Joey Ray Hall. This picture right here is of 10 people. And if you don't know who they are, these people happen to be the original founders of Blizzard Entertainment.
Is
these guys are legends in every sense of the word. And the guy in the middle is none other than Jason Thorhall's father. He later became the director of cinematics at Blizzard, which is probably the only thing that Blizzard has been consistently good at for the last 20 years. He was also the inspiration behind this guy in South Park from the famous World of Warcraft episode. I mean, this guy was a legend in every sense of the word. And so Mashable.com, when they made this article about Pirate Software titled How Streamer Pirate Software Gained Nearly 2 million subs in 6 months, they just had to mention the fact that he's a nepo baby, saying when he was 16, he landed a dream job as a game tester at Blizzard Entertainment, which before the bloated loot boxes and corporate acquisition by
I mean, let's not act. You know what I like? Let's not act like that's like crossing the line. I mean, obviously you didn't choose it, but you do get a couple of perks when you know, you're the son of like one of the OGs of a company. You know what I mean? Like, it may not be nice to say, but let's not act like it's not true.
Microsoft for $68.7 billion was considered one of the most respected companies in the video game industry. It helped that he was a nepo baby, since his dad, Joey Ray Hall, had spent over 2 decades at the industry titan since almost the very beginning. Now, of course,
it might suck to hear that you're a nepo baby, but let's not act like that ain't the truth. You know what I mean?
6 months he would leave because he felt that the corporate life wasn't for him.
You'll always
and many
get
years
the buff.
later would reapply by himself without the help of his dad.
You may not like having
role, which I believe, because if he had the help of his dad, no way he would end up in an entry-level position. But still, just them including this sentence, calling him a nepo baby, truly triggered him beyond belief. I mean, look at what he had to say.
Yeah, really not a fan of that.
Oh, I've never seen this. Oh, does he get upset deeply being called a nepo baby? Oh, is this about to get real? Okay. Oh.
Not a fan of that. It's one of those things that I've been trying to fight my entire career. It's one of the things that I've had to argue with people in chat about. It's one of the things that we ban people for here.
Really?
Anytime people say shit like that, because it's deeply disrespectful and it completely overwrites any of the things that I've done throughout my career as something that is somebody else's success, which they have not been in any possible respect. And it's just rude as fuck. So, what do you say? In the thing, he said it was he called me a nepo baby in his article. No, that's dog shit behavior. Really gross. In any case, let's go find somebody to raid.
I mean, you heard him, right? He would ban.
I guess I get it. I get it. I think we're tweaking a little bit hard. I think we're tweaking a little bit hard because people are going to come in and try to undermine everything you did by calling you Nepo Baby. But I think we just kind of just gamify it. You know, we just go, oh, Nepo Baby? True. That's pretty much it.
People in chat if they called him a Nepo Baby. It's the easiest way to trigger him. And yet, at the same time, the same guy who's acting triggered over
I will say every streamer has the right to ban whomever they want.
for being called Nepo Baby said this multiple times on his stream. Watch.
So I'm second generation Blizzard. I'm the first second generation Blizzard employee that ever existed with the company. I'm also a second generation Blizzard employee. I was a second generation Blizzard employee. I was the first second generation Blizzard employee ever. I was the first second generation Blizzard employee. And I love that shit. I love that company. Working for Blizzard sucks.
Again, a lulcow is someone who is unintentionally hilarious when being 100% serious, and I just can't stop laughing.
That's rough.
Forget this guy. I mean, seriously? I was the first second generation Blizzard employee? What is this, the Chinese dynasty? Like, what are you even talking about? And let's be real here. The only reason you were the first second generation Blizzard employee was purely because of your dad.
Yep.
Because back then, they didn't even have a recruiting team. You were just the easiest hire. And I think one thing he has to understand is that being a Nepo Baby isn't a bad thing. I think most people, if they had a dad or a mom who worked a really cool job, they would love to take advantage of that, and they do. For example, Jack Quaid is an actor that was called a Nepo Baby multiple times by fans. That's because his parents are both Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, two very successful actors. His response was very refreshing for fans, agreeing with the Nepo Baby label and saying, "I'm an immensely privileged person. I don't think it undermines my talent." Adding that he was able to get representation pretty early on because of being a Nepo Baby, and that it's already more than half the battle. So as I said, being a Nepo Baby isn't inherently a bad thing. It's only bad when you try to deny it, when you get defensive, because
Also, hearts in the chat for Asmon, and hearts in chat and prayers for Asmon Dad, and Asmon Pa, and we hope for we hope everything to go well. Yeah, and I don't want to talk anymore about his business.
Come on, who are you lying to? And that was what PirateSoftware was doing. It was becoming more and more obvious that PirateSoftware had a massive ego, but also very deep-rooted insecurities. He wanted to appear like a genius no matter what. And according to him, geniuses never apologize, geniuses never admit fault. But they also never make mistakes and always, no matter what, figure things out on stream. This is something that became painfully obvious when he would play some pretty hard puzzle games and would figure out some of the hardest things all by himself miraculously after looking at his phone, playing it off like it was some genius eureka moment. Outer Wilds is a critically acclaimed, story-rich, space exploration game that just so happens to have some pretty complex puzzles. PirateSoftware would play this game on stream, and he would proceed to solve these puzzles all by himself, miraculously, and more specifically, after looking at his phone. In the VOD of his gameplay, around 8 hours and 7 minutes, he gets stuck in an area and he needs to get out somehow. This is one of the many puzzles in this game. Now, he would struggle to find the solution, deliberate with his chat, talk a bunch, and then at around the 8:20 mark, he would pull out his phone right here and continue talking to chat. This goes on for 2 minutes, in which he deliberates while very clearly looking at his phone. And then eventually, at around the 8-hour, 22-minute mark, he would get a eureka moment.
Maybe it's not with the scanner. Maybe there's a different way. Maybe it's not the scanner at all. Maybe it's the time. Maybe the fact that we were able to destroy the surface like that was the point.
Stop. Stop. He's having a come to Jesus moment.
Wait a minute. I have an idea.
Guys, wait a minute. Oh my God, I have an idea. Guys, oh my God, this just came out of nowhere. My brain just works differently. Did I mention that I worked 7 years at Blizzard? This would spread like wildfire on Reddit. This guy is faking his Outer Wilds run in order to appear to be a genius to his community. That's crazy. That's so ridiculous, you can't even believe it. But as I already mentioned, he was facing increased scrutiny. He normally would have been able to get away with this, and he did get away with this in other games. It's just that now things were different. When questioned about cheating in Outer Wilds, this is what he had to say.
Why did you cheat in Outer Wilds? What? How the hell would you cheat in that game? Bro, we played it all live on stream. All right, bud. It's a wild-ass thing to say.
Yes, how would you cheat while live streaming this as he stares into his phone for 2 straight minutes? You're absolutely right. The real controversy would be when he would play the game Animal Well that released on May 2024. You see, he played this game before the World of Warcraft controversy and before the increased scrutiny. But after he had embarrassed himself in Outer Wilds and World of Warcraft, people thought to go back and check his gameplay because they thought, wait, now that I think about it, this was kind of suspicious. And the evidence here was damning. It was simply undeniable. You see, Animal Well is a puzzle game, but not just any puzzle game. It has many puzzles and many secrets that are very easy to miss if you don't take your time analyzing every aspect of it. When the game first came out, you had people on Reddit and in forums trying to work together.
Yeah, I'll be real. I just like cheating almost every game I play. But I just tell my chat, nah, I'm gonna cheat. And I just look it up. I'm just gonna be real. I'm like, yo, chat, where the fuck do I go? But I don't like getting spoilers for bosses. I don't care. Yeah. Either cheat or spend money. It's really that easy. Always be cheating, bro. Absolutely.
In order to find all of its secrets and puzzles. One of those puzzles was the wingding puzzle. This took the entire community over a week of teamwork in order to find the solution. This was a group effort in every way, and no one person could have solved it by themselves. The guide came out on May 19th, 2024. And it just so happens that PirateSoftware, miraculously, all by himself on stream, solved this puzzle on May 19th. The day the guide came out. I mean, bro, seriously? He'd also have some people write entire essays with proof as to why they think that PirateSoftware cheated. If you want to read this and have actually played Animal Well, you can pause the video. But in a nutshell, it's almost like he was trying his hardest to ruin any ounce of reputation he had left. I mean, seriously, are you that insecure that you would cheat in a fucking puzzle game in order to appear to be a genius to your community? Really? It's insanity. But this was reality because, as I said earlier, this scrutiny was disassembling every aspect of his brand and personality, even down to his most fundamental traits, like his own voice. People would somehow unearth this old clip of him at a convention in which he sounded completely different than how he sounds today, leading many to believe that he's either faking his voice or simply using a voice changer on his microphone.
He's using a voice changer for more reverb.
Show been so far? It's actually been amazing. It's our first time out here at Denver Comic Con, and there's so many people, and they love the.
Now, I will say, this clip has some audio distortion, but there's other clips where his voice is much higher.
Games, so it's been awesome. So speaking of games, what do you have for us today? So we have Champions of Breakfast, which is a twin stick shooter that we made in 24 days from concept to release on Steam. Blew up. It was really, really awesome. And
yeah, the extra Emily interview at the Streamer Awards is much better.
That game is pretty difficult, so if you're into really hard arcade games, that's the kind of thing for you.
You know what, though? To be fair, he sounds like such a pleasant person here. This is someone I can see myself being friends with. Look, people want to theorize and say that he has a voice changer or is faking his voice. I think he was just killed by an evil clone. I think that's a better explanation.
Well, he just hit second puberty.
Of course, wouldn't be the only clip where you'd hear him have a different voice, like this one, for example.
I'm gonna have to peel my hot dog. I have to peel it. Every good hot dog needs to be peeled. Every good hot dog needs to be peeled. You see, now that I've peeled the hot dog, it's ready to eat.
Look, a hot dog is
That's right. It's ready to eat.
Okay, look, if you're not convinced yet, here's a more recent clip of him playing Animal Well. This was around a year ago, back in 2024. Look.
I don't know what that gives me, though.
I don't know what is that supposed to do? How am I gonna put that shit in there? Oh, god damn it.
To some people, this was his voice changer glitching. To others, this was him mistakenly getting too comfortable with his real voice. What does PirateSoftware have to say about this? Well, apparently, according to his doctor, his voice went through a second puberty in his 30s. That's right.
Wait, that's not a joke? Wait, he said that? Well, I thought that was a joke. Wait, he said that out loud? Oh my God, stop. No way. No way. No way.
Apparently your balls can drop twice, but I could only find a handful of sources on this, and this article from the BBC pretty much sums it up by saying that as we get older, the larynx gets stiffer, making the vocal cords less flexible. I mean, this isn't new. When you talk to someone who's 90 years old, they'll sound different than what they used to sound like in their 20s. But to have this much of a dramatic change, that's crazy. Regardless though, I mean, the pressure was getting to PirateSoftware. Not only was his game getting scrutinized, not only was his past out in the open, but people were criticizing.
So now will you stop defending him? I want to make it very clear. I don't defend people. I merely just tell the truth about people. I have no incentivization to defend someone. I just like correcting information and being fair to people. I have no obligation to defend anybody. I have no obligation to shit on anybody. I don't defend anybody.
His gameplay, the way he played games, and even his...
You defend Asmon? I merely tell the truth about Asmon. And let's be real, guys. We all know Asmon is a good-ass dude, and he gets a lot of shit for no reason. Let's be real.
Voice. Things were getting out of control. So the next thing you know, he was on stream with a psychologist by the name of Dr. K.
This one was rough.
Alok Kanoji, otherwise known as Dr. K, runs the healthygamer.gg organization. He's a clinical psychologist who founded this brand in order to be able to reach the very big and growing demographic of gamers, a group of people who very often will struggle with mental health and not really seek out therapy when they should. His content is mostly educational, drawing parallels between video games and what you go through mentally, and overall, he's been quite successful. Now, of course, that's not to say that he doesn't have his fair share of haters. Some people, for example, have criticized the fact that he does these therapy sessions with streamers in public, even though the person in question consents to it. From Dr. K's perspective,
I think it's really important for streamers to do these therapy sessions live with their chat, because that way they'll be more aware of the changes they need to make, and as well as, I mean, let's just be real, guys. A lot of streamers' behaviors are based off of their chat, and if Alok can also get through the chat as well, it'll make the transition process a lot easier. I think Alok's doing a great thing. I think he's an amazing guy. I think he has an amazing channel.
Though he wants to show people that streamers are humans too, and if someone like those streamers that they idolize is brave enough to get therapy, then they can do so too. His conversation with PirateSoftware would last over 3 hours and a half. It would get viewed by almost 1 million people, and having watched a good chunk of it, I can tell you right now, regardless of what you might think about Dr. K, I think this stream truly shows his incredible skill in being able to converse with such an obvious narcissist without having him rage quit the call, while still trying his best to give him a reality check. And for you to understand that, I want you to watch this clip.
For this shit right now is like, they come in and they're like, did you know that he worked at Blizzard for 7 years? Like, yeah, that was my career, and I'm proud of that. So of course I'm going to talk about that, because it gives context to talk about other things around the games industry, which is what we do on the stream.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes the things that I talk about in regards to those types of things is misconstrued as arrogance or boasting, when in reality I'm just trying to give context.
So that is the problem right there. So I want you to listen to this phrase.
Sure.
This gets misconstrued as arrogance, but in reality it's this.
Yeah.
That is the most arrogant statement on the planet, bro. Like, tell me I'm wrong.
Okay. I don't see it that way, but all right.
God, it must be so hard talking to someone like that. Anyway, in the next clip, you'll be seeing the logic behind PirateSoftware's attitude when it comes to never apologizing.
Let me
like not give any context whatsoever?
Yeah. Let's say yes to that. I think that's a bit of hyperbole, but
just an emotional response?
No, just say, hey guys. So basically, you know, when you tell the narrative, you start with like, I made a mistake, everyone made mistakes, I was smug. And then there's a lot that comes after that. How would you feel about just ending it after that first paragraph?
I hate that.
Okay.
I have like an immediate emotionally angry response against that.
Very good.
Because it feels like idiocracy.
Okay.
It feels like, that's too long, didn't read, I don't need all those words when few words do gooder. That I hate that shit. Like I super hate that kind of communication of like there's a lot of people that just say like, oh, you should just say my bad, guys. No, that does not in any way explain a situation. That doesn't tell you any information that is real.
For more serious issues, for a more serious issue, going at the length PirateSoftware does go is fine. For smaller issues, I don't need all that yet. Just say my bad, move on. I think the problem is that PirateSoftware treats every small issue like a large issue, and that turns the small issues into large issues. And that's why PirateSoftware is his #1 biggest enemy. Because a lot of the things he doesn't need to sweat, he sweats way too hard and blows it up himself. It sucks.
It is hand-waving for the masses in a way that is disingenuous to what happened and disingenuous to the people that are involved. I feel like to do that would be just me lying for the sake of lying so that people would fuck off.
This really gave us an insight as to how his mind functions. And as you heard from him talking, he hates the idea of just saying, my bad, let's move on. I'm sorry, let's move on. He wants to sit there and type 12 paragraphs as to why he was wrong but not really, while others were more wrong than him. All of a sudden, things make a lot of sense. Now, listen to how Dr. K responded to that, okay? Just watch.
So I think what I liked about that response, my hope, so we're not here to like rehab your PR, right? We're just here to have a conversation. And at the same time, over the last 2 hours, there's something about the way that I hear you talk that rubs me the wrong way. There's something about the way that you talk that seems...
It's very dismissive, and I'm better than you. I will admit. Thor does have that issue where it's very dismissive. I'm better than you. 100%.
Dismissive.
Yeah.
So I'll tell
Absolutely.
you where that...
No, I agree with that.
Right? So
No,
it's like, I made a mistake, we all made mistakes.
Okay.
Right? So there's something about your sentence construction. It's like, oh yeah, Thor, I'm sorry I cheated on you, bro. I really do love you. You know, we both have flaws in this marriage.
I think the funny thing here is that Dr. K is known to be very caring, very nice, and not confrontational at all when it comes to streams like this. But in this case, seeing that he's an experienced psychologist...
He had to break walls down.
He knew when to become confrontational.
He had to.
He knew when to call out PirateSoftware on his bullshit. And this is what it was. Bullshit. In just a span of like 20 seconds, Dr. K had essentially summed up people's entire problem with PirateSoftware.
Yep.
When he would be criticized, when he would be given feedback, when he would be given advice, he was always dismissive and smug. And this smugness is what led us here. People were hoping that this productive 3.5-hour conversation would actually lead somewhere, maybe actually make him apologize for once and take a step back. But it didn't. His empire kept crumbling until we had finally reached the final nail in the coffin. Stop killing games.
Yep.
Stop Killing Games is an initiative launched by Ross Scott in the Europe.
This was PirateSoftware's magnum opus of L's. This is the colossal he fucked up, inexcusable. You know, completely fucked up. Especially as a streamer. Like a streamer who relies on community generosity, giving such a pro-corporation take that has the ability to fuck over the same people that watch them and have no remorse for promoting misinformation and working against a cause that would help the very same people who have been helping Pirate. This was the worst thing. Yeah, he went full corpo bootlicker here, 100%.
European Union and the United Kingdom. It was meant to be a
However, he did kind of Lelouch v. Britannia this shit and gave everybody a common enemy. And now SKG broke like 1.4 million signs. So, good shit, baby.
Direct answer to what happened with the game The Crew, made by Ubisoft. At the end of December 2023, Ubisoft...
It was unintentional, so I'm not going to praise him for that.
All of a sudden announced that The Crew would no longer be purchasable and that its servers would be going down on March 31st, 2024. Seeing that this was a live service game, this meant that after March, you'd never be able to play this game ever again. The salt in the wound, though, was that barely a couple weeks after the servers went offline, Ubisoft revoked The Crew from people who had bought it digitally, attaching a message saying, "You no longer have access to this game. Why not check the store to pursue your adventure?"
That's insane.
To many, this was an outrage. It essentially meant that
That's
you
fucking
never owned
crazy.
your games to begin
That's
with.
fucking
Ubisoft
crazy.
can just take them away. This also more recently happened with Concord. It barely came out for a week and then the servers were offline. If you bought the disc copy, you were played like an idiot. The Stop Killing
that's
Games
fucking
initiative
nuts.
argued that it wasn't really legal. It was very weird for live service games to just shut down like that without giving players an alternative, with Ross Scott on his YouTube channel saying that games as a service is fraud. One thing to note is that this initiative wasn't forcing publishers or developers to keep game servers online forever. What it simply wanted was to have a way to access these games after the servers went offline, by allowing players to host their own servers, for example, arguing that if taking games down like this would become the norm, then way too many games would become lost media, because that's what The Crew and Concord are right now. They're essentially lost media. It was classified as a European Citizens Initiative, in which European citizens could sign it, and if it would reach 1 million signatures, then it would be talked about in the European Parliament. It would initially get a couple 100,000 signatures until a certain person would speak out against it in the most aggressive way possible. Of course, we're talking about our good old friend, PirateSoftware. He felt so passionate about this topic that he made 2 videos about it, very shortly after it launched in the summer of 2024. Now look, we're not going to watch the whole video, I just want to show you the first 10 seconds. Let's do this.
Hi, my name is Jason Thor Hall, also known as PirateSoftware Online. I've been in the gaming industry for about 20 years. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment, then Amazon Game Studios, and now I own my own studio, PirateSoftware, by the same name. It's an indie studio, and I've been...
There's just something about this guy, man. I don't know. I can't explain it. Anyway, he worked at Blizzard Entertainment for around 7 years, guys, and he vehemently opposed every single thing this initiative stood for, arguing that it would kill live service games and
Why'd nobody tell me he worked at Blizzard? That's crazy.
kill gaming in general, completely misunderstanding what this initiative was even about, and using his massive influence, which was still present at the time, to kill it instantly. I want to be clear here. In this video, he tries his best to appear level-headed, professional even, echoing the genius that you first saw in his YouTube shorts at the end of 2023. But on his stream, oh my god, this guy was a mess. These are the very nice things he had to say about this initiative. Watch.
Shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This.
No, yeah, according to him, this is the worst thing that's ever been made by humanity. Like, this is the, like, oh my god, you'd think that this is actually
once again massive fucking L.
Going to end gaming as we know it, but it's not. It's seeking to do the opposite.
Shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then. I dropped the mask entirely.
In his very professionally level-headed video, he says this:
It's incredibly important to me that we keep making games and that the next generation has the tools to do so so that our medium doesn't die out.
But that's exactly what Stop Killing Games wants to do. The whole point of this initiative is for this medium to not die by allowing so many games to become lost media. And yet, this is what PirateSoftware was saying about this whole thing.
I think live service games getting sunsetted is fine. I've always thought that. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, at this point, just no comment. When he would start receiving quite a bit of backlash, of course, now there's more dislikes, but when it first released, I'd say 30% of the like to dislike ratio was dislikes. He made this pinned comment, outlining some points that don't really help his very aggressive reaction that came out of nowhere, and then ended it with a quotation saying he won't even talk to Ross, who was the founder of Stop Killing Games. To which he replied with, correct. I think his position is disingenuous due to his comments about how this could be pushed through government. It's a bad direction, removes validity for what the initiative is trying to do, portrays the process in an incorrect manner, and just builds sensationalism. Thinking that kind of language is okay puts him squarely on my not worth it to talk to list, as there are others that could have a more productive conversation. So what he's talking about is this slide here. This one slide in the entirety of this initiative is the only reason why he refuses to talk to Ross. It says reasons the European Citizens Initiative could pass. Politicians like easy wins. Politicians mostly don't care about video.
Now, a lot of people like to say that PirateSoftware got a lot of shit because of the bad things he did, the bad things he said, you know, the bad plays he did in OnlyFangs. But I do want to give credit where credit's due, guys, and we need to acknowledge this here. A lot of the shit that PirateSoftware got, people always overlook this. Do you know when else he was trending globally on Twitter and getting a hate train for? For talking to Asmongold. He did. He did get a lot of shit for talking to Asmon and saying that he was good with Asmon. PirateSoftware could have thrown him underneath the bus, but he didn't do that. Right? So that's another example of, even though you may not like this guy, just know when he had the opportunity to stab somebody in the back who was good to him, he didn't take that. Man, the bar's that low. I just like giving full context, guys. I like giving full context. And I'll be real, even though PirateSoftware, a lot of y'all don't like him, just understand. Hey, he's better than 99% of the people on OnlyFangs. Let's just be real, guys. Right? Because everybody else would have taken that opportunity to shit on Asmon. And many have. And many, many, many have.
Video games. The law is already unclear on this practice. The initiative is in line with other consumer policies. It's a diversion from more serious topics. Now, according to Ross, this was a half-truth, half-joke.
It's true, but I'll
I
ignore
think
it.
that's how a normal person would view it. I don't think it was tone-deaf in any way, but it angered the hell out of PirateSoftware for some reason.
And he turned on Asmongold? What are you talking about? Ask Nux. He made a video. Just link me the fucking video. Posted in a Daily Scramble. I don't remember this at all, nor will I take that as truth until I see that. Let's keep going.
Reason. I don't know why. Some people theorize that it's because he got close to Ludwig, and together they founded the games publisher Off-Brand Games. When the Stop Killing Games initiative came out, they were in the process of releasing a live service multiplayer game. So there was definitely some sort of a conflict of interest here. Regardless, this European Citizens Initiative had a one-year deadline. It would be automatically closed on the 31st of July, 2025. And by the end of June, it barely had 500,000 signatures, which meant it had no hope of ever reaching 1 million, or so it seemed. This was until Accursed Farms, the channel owned by Ross Scott, would release a video titled The End of Stop Killing Games.
W-Lud, because you can't type W-Tectone on his channel without getting banned.
About how we got here, the feedback and criticism he's received, the changes he's made, and of course the majority of the video is him responding to PirateSoftware's very aggressive criticisms. Most of the clips of PirateSoftware crashing out over the Stop Killing Games initiative were actually from this video.
Next video explaining? Yeah, that's about what I expected. All right, cool. Anyways.
Ross addresses every single one and ended up, whether intentional or not, making PirateSoftware look like a clown who had no idea what he was talking about.
He
this
did.
video almost has 1 million views.
Accursed Farms fucking bodied him here,
Some of
bro.
those people happen to be way bigger content creators than PirateSoftware. And seeing that this very important initiative was very close to failure, tried their best to bring as many people as possible to sign it.
Yep.
For example, Moist Critical talked about it in his videos at over 3.5 million views. Hell, even Jacksepticeye talked about it on his second channel, and the video's sitting at over 1 million views. People understood that this initiative wasn't just a good thing for video games, it was integral to ensure its survival for the future. Hell, even Minecraft creator Notch had something to say about it, tweeting, "Hey guys, just got back to gaming after a brief break. Wait, why is there a Nepo baby doubling down over there?" Adding, "If buying a game is not a purchase, then pirating them is not theft." This truly solidified the position of PirateSoftware in the Hall of Fame of lulcows. It was undeniable at this point. His stupidity had made an entire movement succeed, just purely on the basis of him being so unaware of what was going on. He lacked the most basic form of self-awareness. And thanks to that, the Stop Killing Games initiative not only reached 1 million signatures, but is currently at over 1.3 million in overdrive, about to reach 1.4 million any time now, with the UK petition reaching double the signatures required. He even had a vice president of the European...
Mods, spam this link if you're... Did he not link it? Man, you motherfucker. Yo, sign this shit if you're in Europe, guys, if you haven't already.
Parliament, voicing support for this initiative and signing the petition himself while urging other Europeans to do the same. This initiative gained so much traction that a publisher group full of the biggest publishers on the planet, including EA and Ubisoft, for example, responded saying that these proposals would curtail developer choice and that it was unsustainable and unfeasible. In other words, they were very scared that this could actually pass. Being a gamer myself, I wish this initiative the best of luck in Parliament, and I truly hope it passes. When I buy a digital game, I'd like to know that I actually own it and that it won't be taken away from me at any given moment. But while this initiative was gaining a lot of positive attention, PirateSoftware, on the other hand, was gaining all the negative attention. He's currently bleeding over 10,000 subscribers daily on his YouTube channel and has currently lost a massive chunk of his viewership on Twitch. I mean, look at these numbers. He used to peak 15,000 concurrent viewers and is now down to 5,000. That's 1/3 of where he used to be 7 months ago. And that's without mentioning all the followers he's been losing. I mean, look at this, minus 50,000 just in July. Additionally, this renewed scrutiny has prompted many YouTubers, like Coding Jesus and Slop News Network, to analyze the code that he writes on stream, concluding that a child, a literal toddler, can probably do a better job. Seriously, this is the gift that keeps on giving. Because, of course, instead of just apologizing, taking a step back, taking the L for once, admitting you made a mistake, maybe taking some advice that Dr. K gave you, he would triple down or quadruple down, I guess I can't even keep track at this point, and make this post, saying the most interesting narrative is that my video somehow killed the initiative. This graph shows that the initiative already had a downward trend in interest when my videos dropped. My videos do not seem to have had any impact on the movement at all. Making me the villain did though. Best of luck with your next steps. So at this point, I can't help but be impressed how much he's willing.
He's right about that, by the way. He is what saved Stop Killing Games. Let's be real. It is the truth. Without PirateSoftware, this initiative most likely would not have been completed. They needed a bad guy. He's right, but like, who cares? Yeah.
To die on hills that don't matter.
Sure, he's still a piece of shit, though. Listen, guys, I'm just trying to make sure everything is right here.
People aren't even tracking cumulative signatures and daily signatures. They just understood that this initiative is worth fighting for. It's
nobody here is saying that PirateSoftware is not a dick, right? Nobody here saying that.
Very important for the longevity of games as a medium, and that you, with your massive platform, not only criticized it very aggressively, thinking that this was going to be an easy win that made you out to be a genius, but urged all your audience, all your strong community to not sign it when they were telling you to sign it initially. That's how you even found out about the initiative. You would then later tweet this, saying, I am no longer working at off-brand games. People were attacking all of the games we were publishing and trying to mass review bomb them. You can dislike the things I say, but this kind of behavior is unhinged. Learned a lot there, accomplished a lot, hope they succeed regardless, love those dudes and loved working with them, hope they keep cooking. Ludwig would reply to this, saying, Stop Killing Games is a good initiative, but a few bad actors review bombed / harass developers of the games we support at off-brand games. Appreciate Thor stepping down for the betterment of the devs and their games, to which he would get community noted. The note said, Rivals of Either 2 has not been review bombed. Verifying this is as easy as opening the Steam page and looking at the graph of reviews. And if we go to the game, scroll down, and look at the graph that shows review trends, we can very clearly see that there's no review bombing going on. If anything, there's positive bombing. Look at all these positive reviews in June. But hey, anything to be the victim, right? In fact, the guy became such a victim that I think he started losing his mind. He started comparing his current situation with the Stop Killing Games initiative to Coney 2012. I mean, dude, no, I'm sorry. This is a full-fledged, fully developed and evolved lulcow. There's no way you can say this while being self-aware. It's impossible. And after months of complaining about people brigading and harassing him, he does the same exact thing to Coding Jesus. He would leave a comment on his code review video and would then link his comment to his chat so that they can go upvote it in an effort to ratio the video itself. Like, how petty is it? Come on, man.
You make a link to it? You have to click on the little 6 hours edited? Aha! So that doesn't seem to do it? Oh, do I have to right-click on this and then copy link address? And then do that? Is that what does this? Ah, it does highlighted comment. There we go. Boop. There's my comment on it. Enjoy. And I also have a whole argument with a whole bunch of people in the replies in there so they can see what's going on with it. I talked to them through the entire thing of why I did that all in an array, because that is not normal practice to do that. And
Baldy does this all the time. Does Asmon actually do that? I mean, I don't know. I don't really get the context of this one.
Specifically so that you guys can reverse engineer the game and solve the ARG. Sometimes doing bad practice has meaning, which is...
Whatever, man. He later deleted this VOD because this literally breaks YouTube TOS. This breaks every aspect of terms of service when it comes to brigading and harassment. I mean, at this point, can this get any worse? Yes. He'd be asked about his opinion when it comes to Stop Killing Games finally reaching 1 million signatures, and he said, I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that your initiative gets everything that you asked for, but nothing you wanted, and I'll leave it there. See, if I was 12 years old, I would have probably thought this was really cool, but now it's just edgy beyond cringe.
Yeah.
But listen, as much as this was
really
a ridiculous
rough
roller
quote,
coaster
really
ride
rough
on the
quote.
lulcow Express, someone did end up asking him, hey, man, would you consider making an apology video, setting everything straight? Because you know what? This is still salvageable. You can still redeem yourself, and here's what he had to say.
Put up a video saying you were wrong with every situation and the internet move on. I am not doing that. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, simply bend the knee and lie about how you feel, and everyone will stop bullying you. That's a great idea, dude. Yeah, no.
This guy is so hopeless, man. Now, I will say this because I'm sure this will appear in the comments. Yes, I'm aware that PirateSoftware is a massive furry, and I'm also aware that he was legally married to someone, and during that marriage, he got in contact with one of the Kickstarter backers of Earthbound, the game he's working on, and started a very inappropriate 18+ relationship with them while being married. Yes, he committed adultery. The reason why I didn't mention this in the video is because it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. If he had just apologized during the WoW Classic incident, this coming out wouldn't have done anything to him, because guess what? Most of these messages involved 18+ roleplay, but more specifically, furry roleplay. Yes, they would literally say to themselves, pets you, nuzzles you, plays with your tail, and then get, more 18+ into it. Yes, most people couldn't even read one page of chat logs because of how cringy it is. So I'm so convinced it wouldn't have done anything to his reputation. It's meaningless to talk about. But if you're interested, you can check out this video by Fearful Tears titled PirateSoftware, the most delusional Twitch streamer. Look, PirateSoftware is a lesson not just in content creation, but in quite literally anything. Normal people make mistakes, and geniuses make mistakes too. We're all human. Admitting that you make a mistake isn't you admitting that you have a weakness. No, on the contrary, never admitting that you're wrong is a weakness in itself, because it shows how insecure you are, how fragile of an ego you have, and it'll only make people want to avoid you. I mean, what's the point? PirateSoftware is the stupid person's definition of a genius, and he managed to ride that wave for a little while, but now the party's over, and he only has himself to blame. He'll still be a content creator, he'll still have a sizable audience, but he'll never be able to touch the sky like he did at the end of 2023, and they're never coming back unless he finally humbles his dumbass. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the entire video up until the end. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video fairly soon. Yeah, I love you so much. Mwah.
Now, I will say, I do think this was Mugen's worst video ever, as far as things he sourced, and it really does seem like he just kind of bent a knee to public opinion and didn't really look into too much himself, but then again, he probably just doesn't have the ability to do that because he doesn't know what World of Warcraft is. But, at least I was here to set people on the righteous path, or at least people to form your own opinions, because I think getting a content creator's entire opinion and copying it is cringe. Always think for yourself. But anyways, that's the video. Great vid, Mugen. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see y'all on the next one, boys. Peace.